From the ways that Usain Bolt spends his money, to how much the track star spends on his training and keeping his body in peak performance. These are insane ways Usain Bolt spends his millions. I don't think limits. Once said by the world's fastest man, a man who can run a whole 100 meters in 9 seconds. Even as the Jamaican track star has retired from racing, his infectious personality and views still have us coming back for more. We can't just figure out what he ate to make himself fast. We need to know what he spends those millions in his day-to-day life. You know, just to make ourselves recognize greatness. So, what does Usain Bolt spend his millions on? We could be a cheater and say a lot of stuff, but I'm sure that wouldn't be a satisfying answer. From lavish mansions, beautiful sports cars, and crazy parties, the star's recept is rather long. All in all, Usain's net worth is around 90 million. And even as the track star is giving up sprinting, he still makes over 33 million a year. With that amount of cheddar, I think we can all see exactly why he probably spends money so frequently. After all, if I had 90 million to blow, I'd probably toss down crazy parties and buy mansions. Not to mention go out to eat. Being a big eater, trying out all sorts of different foods with my money would be a dream. But while Bolt may have come from movie-worthy beginnings, ever since he became famous, he's been living it big, such as when he spent 2.17 million. On what, you may ask? On an apartment when he was with the Central Coast Mariners. The palatial penthouse seems like a tier above what one would call normal. With its spaciousness, beautiful furniture, and amazing view. Many would probably call the track star absolutely nuts for that kind of spending. But if you have the money to do so, why wouldn't you? So long as you aren't in debt or causing harm to yourself. $2.17 million on a penthouse seems a-okay with us. Even still, said penthouse was the most luxurious in the whole complex. So it seems it's either go big or go home. And we all know the track superstar is going to choose to go big every single time. It's just the type of guy he is. But what kinds of cars does Bolt drive? Certainly it isn't a Honda Insight, right? Thankfully, no, the track star seems to have taste befitting his status. One can typically find Bolt riding around for his favorite vehicle, the GTR. The $177,000 golden Nissan GTR happens to be one of 2 in existence with Bolt's name on it. Though Bolt didn't buy this vehicle, it was one of his most prized possessions. And we can't too much blame him when you get a look at the sleek style of the car. Being able to go from 0 to 60 in just 2.5 seconds? That sounds like the sort of statistics that you'd hear in Fast and Furious. Why anyone would need so much speed in such a small amount of time? It's anyone's guess, but what we know for certain is that he looks dope when driving it. Even still, Bolt didn't actually keep the car despite how beautiful it is. Instead, it was auctioned off in Australia for $187,000. After making almost $100,000 from the auction, the money was given to Usain's charity, the Usain Bolt Foundation.
Younger generation and the early childhood education.
Epson shares my vision of making education accessible to everyone.
As much as Bolt loves fast cars, he for sure loves giving back to all that support him much more. Apart from the golden GTR, Bolt has a black GTR worth $105,000. This one, however, in the spirit of the topic, actually did come out of Bolt's pocket. Though GTRs aren't the only fast cars that Bolt seems to like. As a pastime, the track star seems to be testing out his Ferrari 458 Italia, a car that costs roughly about $291,000. If you think about it, Bolt's Ferrari costs almost if not more than some people's houses. Just to put into perspective how much Bolt has actually been spending. Outside of cars, however, Usain Bolt also likes to DJ in his spare time.
I love DJing. I love music.
Reportedly having a $10,000 DJ deck that he uses for many of his huge parties. Parties have begun to get so loud and crazy that Bolt has gotten some complaints. Bolt is an avid club and party goer, and it's known that wherever he shows up, he is 100% bringing the party with him. We all have to travel once in a while, and if you don't, That is definitely something you should try, if for no other reason than to just experience something new. Whenever Bolt goes traveling, he likes to go in style, taking to the skies with his private jet.
They're partying, they were dancing, they're doing fancy handshakes with each other.
Getting turned up with drinks. Is that a
Strobe light?
Outside of spending his money like no one's business. Another very important piece of Bolt's life happens to be his training. While we don't have the exact numbers of how much he spends training, we can give a general estimate based on what he does. His diet seems rather simple and cheap, all in all, as he starts his days rather minimalistic with that of an egg sandwich. Then he eats something to pick up his energy, which is usually corned beef and pasta. As many athletes know, pasta is amazing for endurance athletes. The dish contains complex carbs that revitalize the body and gives energy. After which Bolt eats various fruits such as mangoes, pineapples, and apples throughout the day. Bolt ends his day off with Jamaican dumplings and roasted chicken. So if you wanted to build up to crush the superstar, you have a dietary roadmap. But that likely wouldn't be enough given Usain's intense workout schedule. Bolt spends an hour and 30 minutes in the gym every day and then performs 2 workouts after ending it off with a small workout on the track. Such workouts consist of leg raises, bunny hops, and box jumps, just to name a few. All of which Bolt does religiously to maintain his body and remain the fastest, which as any professional could tell you. The only way to remain at the top is to keep working and striving higher and higher. Even if Bolt has retired from being a sprinter, it doesn't mean he's retired from looking after himself and his body's well-being, much like LeBron James. In order to remain agile but keep his muscle, during lunch, LeBron takes a healthy choice, eating a massive salad with lean meats and proteins, adding things like avocado and salmon, which is probably much of a shock to many seeing LeBron's size. For dinner, however, LeBron takes to eating a lot of greens and grilled chicken, seems mostly aiming to only intake things that will give him energy and natural fats, to keep him nimble and energized for the massive workout that is to come. Athletes have it hard, especially when they aren't able to bust down on a pizza as often as we can, or go out for ice cream on a weekly basis, as we, the fans, would notice in their performance. And so would their teammates. Being an athlete is a lifestyle that takes not only your time but your appetite. But with how these two titans have stamped their names in history, it's probably very worth it. LeBron James installed a home gym which he uses 5 days a week to perform various workouts. On some days he performs yoga, and on others he performs strength works out with weights. All in all, in total, LeBron spends about $1.5 million a year on his body and its overall fitness. These range from his workouts to his dietary plans and trainers. In comparison to Bolt, we can safely assume that they spend a very similar amount of money. $1 million on fitness is crazy dedication. The dedication is easily seen throughout Bolt's careers. So, from how much the track star spends on his training and keeping his body in peak performance, to the ways that Usain Bolt spends his money. These were the insane ways Usain Bolt spends his millions.